Hey everybody, it's Savage Lands News. This time we are coming in with something I've been waiting for a very long time. Super long time. We have Davis, Big Dawnblade Purcell, coming on the channel because you know what? He just took down an RTN and he didn't take a free one down. He earned it. He beat multiple Lexies and he had the biggest Dawnblade of the day. Say,
Well, I always have the biggest Dawnblade.
That was awesome.
I was born with it.
Born with it.
It was in my hands when I came out the womb.
Yeah. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time because Davis has been playing Dorinthia for a hot minute, and he has, and it probably is one of the best Dory players I have ever played. He's a nightmare for those around him in our area. He is the reason we fear Dorinthia, and he's always come so close. Ninth at the Battle Hardened, unfortunately getting matched against a Prism for his winning in. Just absolutely coming just to the edge. Normally out of bad luck, I would say. Do you mostly agree? But
yeah, I mean, I've had opportunities, and I even could have played a lot better in that Prism game. I'm regretful of how I kind of just threw it because it was a long day, and then I was like, oh my god, like I'm 5-1, like I'm doing great. I think the stream had me at 5-0-1, which is not true. We just got over trying to fix it, but I was 5-1, and then it's like, oh, it's Prism, and I was like, I'm tired. It's my most difficult matchup. This is round 7. Like yeah, there's a lot of things I wish I could do differently there, but it is what it is. It's been a long time coming, but I finally snagged one.
You did it, man. And you did it convincingly. You didn't get a freebie at all. No free passes, not any of the rounds. You took it all the way down to the end, which is kind of crazy, especially in this meta.
Yep. Yeah, it was a fun day. It was tough. It was long, and 9 rounds total. It's about as long of a day as you'll ever see in Flesh and Blood, right? I think even like Pro Tour, National Championships, World Championships, those are all like 7-round days until you get to top 8.
Yeah, 7 to 8, yeah.
Yeah. So 9 rounds. I mean, we'll get into that when we get to the discussion. But yeah, it was a long day. We were there like 9 hours. Like it was like holy crap, day. Man. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
Davis
it was a lot of
here,
fun. Yeah, Davis here is a Vancouver, Washington local. We play in the Portland scene. Me and him go around up to Seattle, back down to Corvallis sometimes. So he is a Pacific Northwest local. But when did you get into the game, Davis?
Yeah, so I started playing right after Monarch Unlimited came out. It was like brand new. I had actually gone in to buy Magic cards, but Thomas, the shop owner, convinced me to try Flesh and Blood. It took me a few trips in before he finally got me to sit down and play it. But ever since then I haven't looked back. I mean, I've been playing almost weekly or even more ever since for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I mean, you started on Levia, right? That was your first hero.
Yep, I bought the Levia Blitz deck. I upgraded that to CC over time, and then I finally bit the bullet and just went all in and started spending a lot of money. But I was tired of losing, man. I mean, Levia sucks, and I was like, I don't have anything else, so I switched to Rhinar for a bit because Rhinar and Levia share, I don't know, like somewhere between 40 to 60% of the same cards, sometimes more if you're playing like a no blood debt Levia. So it was a natural progression to go to Rhinar. Played Rhinar for a long time. Then I switched. I got really tired of playing Blood Rush Bellows and drawing like 2 Sync Bellows, like, and just like crying. So I was like, I want to play a hero that's just like it's got a little bit more like consistent of a game plan that you know what you're doing with the hand, with the the hand you have, rather than like, oh, what am I going to draw into? Yeah. So I switched to Dorinthia in like August last year, and I pretty much have been a one-trick Dorinthia ever since.
Yeah, that's crazy. Me and him connected. I mean, originally, I think we came into the game at the same time, became friends. Both of us played Levia. Both of us ended up hating ourselves. Then we switched to Rhinar. And only one of us still hates ourselves. The other one is picked a marginally better hero, I would say. And your work is starting to show, man. It's starting to show, especially with those new changes you made, which we'll get into later. But
yeah. I mean, starting on Levia is a really good way to play the game because you're playing with the worst hero in the game, probably. So if you start winning games with Levia, it's like you know what you're doing. Like, this guy's got chops.
Yeah. So what about Dory like stood out to you?
Dawnblade.
Yeah.
The big D. I want to swing the big D every day. So, um, just getting counters. I was like, that sounded really fun. And then I think I had gotten beat really bad by a couple of Dorinthias, and I was like, man, this deck seems really good. It seems like a lot of fun. So I gave it a try, and I mean, I've played all the heroes. Like I've played them all on Talishar. I've given them all a spin. Even at least a couple of games, and so playing her for a few rounds on Talishar, I bit the bullet. I got all the cards, yeah, I mean, it's been great. Just building counters has been a ton of fun. I love that play style. I love it I love it even more the more I play it, which is great. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason. Is just no other hero in the game really has that kind of like snowball mechanic. Like I'm just gonna get stronger every turn if you don't do something about me, and I have been drawn to that and want to keep playing it.
I mean, that's a good answer. Yeah, you do. Davis has a very particular play style, I would say. He shows his stuff. He puts it on the table and says, "Where you deal with me," right? I think that's.
I dropped a coin purse on the table. It's like you got to do something about these nets. They're gonna. I'm gonna slap you in the face with them. I'm gonna dangle them in front of you.
I'm gonna have a hard time with my monetization after this video.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You're gonna have a hard time about a couple of things after this video.
Yeah, that's even how he played Levi that way too. It was like turn 2, full blood debt. Let's go. Let's see what happens, right? Like,
I had a turbo like Hexagore deck that was literally just like get the 6 blood debt like ASAP and just get him with the Hexagore. And it was a ton of fun. It was actually pretty good. I think like the only deck I really struggled against was like Kano, because he doesn't like make you happy. He doesn't give you opportunities to block, so you're not filling your graveyard on both turns.
Yeah.
So you have to go meat axe, and it's just like
meat
axe not as fun. So
yeah, Hexagore was roll scabs and go, right? Like
roll scabs, and you're just like, oh, I got 2. Okay, like here's a Boneyard Marauder and another 6 off of blue. Like it's just so good.
Okay. So this RTN event, right? You want to run over your matchups if you're, any of the highlights that you kind of went into?
Yeah, I mean, I can run through them all pretty quick. I remember them all. So the first round was against a really cool Bolton deck that was running Sabers, but it was not combo. So it was running Tunic, and it was a mid-range deck that ran Iron Song Pride. So that way you could constantly give the Sabers go again, even if the opponent doesn't block, because they're +1 from the Iron Song Pride. And that was a really fun matchup. It was a really cool deck, and when I had played Bolton before, I didn't really like the combo style. So if I ever feel like playing Bolton or want to give it a spin, like that's definitely the style I'm going to go for. It's a really cool deck. It was a close game. I closed it out with Route. They'd already used all 3 sinks, so I was pretty confident that was going to get the job done, and it did. Second round was against a Dash, and most Dashes, when you play against them, they're going to go for the defensive kind of item build. It's not like Tree Frog. I mean, you will see Tree Frog sometimes, but most are not running Tree Frog. They're running, Mechanologist cards that block 3. They're running the items. They're trying to stop the counters. They're trying to set up items, and then they're just going to pistol you into the dirt once they've gotten, the setup done. And that's also what they're going to be doing on the mid game as they're setting up items. When they don't have them, they're just going to block 6, block 9, whatever, pistol you a couple times. So first game was a really close game. We both, I think, were at 1-1 by the end of it. But they got caught with 2 items in hand at the end, and it's just like I had twinning, so it was like they block 6 because they don't want to die to a 3-pump. Twinning. That's the game. Yeah, that's that. And then the next game was also Dash. That one, I just blew this guy up, man. I feel bad because it was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just like, I have 2 counters. Iron Song Determination. I'm gonna get another counter. By the end of the game, I had like 20 life and like 6 counters. Like it was like, that guy, the last half of the game literally just did nothing. He just like watched himself die as I just like dominated him. Quite literally, because it was like 3 turns in a row of Iron Song Determination, because I had one in Arsenal. I drew another one, so it was like, you're done. It's over. So that game was pretty. I mean, that was like the most I rolled anyone that day, and it was like that was just what the deck gave me. It was sick. Fourth round, I played Lexi. That was another game where Iron Song Determination like really put in work, because I think if I remember correctly, what happened was I was like crack, courage. Give dominate, spoils of war, steel blade, supremacy. So I'm like hitting, drawing, hitting again, twinning blade, crack bolters, hit again, and I had maybe like 3 or 4 counters. So I was like, okay, here's like 20, like 8 damage dominate, like I think he was at like 14, and I just like just sniped him down because it was like I just had the nets. Like, you know, my nets were already on the table, and then I drew more nets, and it was like, whoa, like
Whoa.
what are you gonna do? Like, fifth game, Viserai, that was a really tight game. It was another 1-1 life game, but I was able to get that game with the determination again. That's a running theme for this RTN is art domination or dominate, just putting in work. You know, I literally was just like 4 dominate, and he's at 1 life, and it's like he has no armor, he has no D-Rex. The 1 chip is just all you needed. So that snagged that game. It was a really tight, really close game though. You know, Jacob's a really good player. Really, you know, I think if you've played Flesh and Blood in the area for a hot minute, you know who he is. He's a good guy. Last round, I had actually already secured my #1 seed by going 5-0 and being the only 5-0, and it was going to be against an Oldhim, but I just conceded because I was like, I'm not going to play an Oldhim game going into top 8, which really gives me nothing because I'm already going to be the 1 seed. And if I play and win, it's like I knock him down to like 7th or 8th seed where I might have to play immediately again round 1. And if I lose, then it's like, well, I might as well have just conceded and save the time. So I really only played like 8 rounds because I didn't have to play that 6th round, which is great because it gave me a break to like hydrate, eat a snack, because there's no lunch break at these events a lot of the time. So it's just like 6 straight rounds, like, you know, you're just like, you know, you're like 6 hours in at this point, and you're just like, all right, give me time to like collect my thoughts, recuperate. And I think that was a really big deal for me because mental fatigue has oftentimes been what does me in. Like the later rounds, I just start making mistakes because I'm tired. You know, it's a long day. You're not really eating a full meal because you don't have the time to. And it's just a lot. So conceded that game, so I didn't have to play it. That was great. So I end the day 5-1, and then, like I said, there were a few other 5-1s, but because I was the only 5-0, I was going to be the 1 seed no matter what.
Yeah.
So first round of top 8, played a Fi. Again, drew like just, you know, this deck is like built to it's just built different, right? It's built to like just like D you into the dirt, right? This is like, all right, I'm just gonna literally Dawnblade you, and I'm not gonna block this. Not a mid-range deck. I'm just gonna keep my full hand, and I'm just gonna run you over. So I think like literally like on turn 2, so I went second, and my second turn I had like dominate, Steelblade Supremacy, Spoils of War, Twinning Blades. So I'm just like, just send it. And like I literally at the end of that turn, it was like 39-20 already. So it was like, I have all the wiggle room. I have all the leeway. I don't even have to block. Like I'm just gonna be keeping 4-card hands and presenting a ton of damage. And like Fire doesn't block well, so it's like, what do you do? Like, like okay, like okay, like Warrior's Valor for 9 on hit go again. And it's like his whole hand probably blocks 8. So it's like like okay, I guess I take it and I just let you destroy me. Like that's I only ended up that game with like 7 life because like, you know, Fi does 5 things. But like
it's fine.
that was a game where like I'm not blocking. Like I'm just like I'm so ahead I don't even have to. Like I'll turn off your mass trigger with my armor and just like keep the pressure. Like I think there was like I only blocked like twice that whole game, like with cards because I didn't have to. Like I was like, oh, I read overpower, I don't need this, you know. I'm not gonna be able to use this. You know, I don't even really want it versus Fi. It's a 4 pump basically for 3 gross. That's terrible, but it's a 3 block, and I kind of have to run it because I don't have a lot of wiggle room in my deck. It's a pretty tight list. So anyway, enough dwelling on that game. Next game was Azalea. Another game where like I built a pretty good life lead early, but then I kind of, you know, got caught in the Azalea, like, here's run the ledger, here's run the ledger, here's run the ledger. And then they kind of like started to whittle me down. And I was, you know, okay, block 9, swing Dawnblade, block 9, swing Dawnblade. That was kind of like the story for a while. Before finally I just decided like, all right, I'm not going to swing. I'm just going to pocket a fire card, which is a Red Warrior's Valor. That's like one of the best cards in the deck. So pocket that in the arsenal. Just draw up and let's see what happens. And then they ended up only coming in for like 7 with that 1 card that's like on hit. They can only play 1 non-attack action and 1 attack action on a turn. I'm like, great. I don't care about this on hit. I'm only playing 1 non-attack action anyway. I'm swinging the weapon. So, you know, just eat that Red Warrior's Valor and like, let's just go to work. And then, you know, was able to close it out from there. Because again, Azalea, another deck that like doesn't really block that well. It has a lot of 3 blocks, but like the 3 blocks are usually the gas. So it's like, you know, if they're blocking with their 1 arrow because it's only 3 block in their hand, like I'm happy with that. What are you gonna do? You don't have arrows anymore, so they're usually just like, yeah, I'll take it, because all their other cards are a bunch of pumps that don't block for 3 or don't block well or whatever. So, yep, pretty much was able to get some tempo there and just close it out with another. Well, I actually closed that one out, I think, with like double pump for Out for Blood and Red Iron Song response. So, 6 pump over the block when they only block 3 on the second swing. So, that's the game.
That's dead. That's over.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last game was against the Lexi again, the same Lexi I faced in pools. A great player in the area, Archer, probably top 5 player around in this area, I would say. And I again, the same story, another game where I built up a huge life lead. It was like 30-9. And this is actually where I made a huge mistake. And this is, I think, where being tired comes into play. And I thought I was making like a cheeky, like poker, read where it's like, he's coming in for Endless Arrow with Go again for 7 because he played a Premeditate. And he's showing already a Rain Razors in Arsenal. So I'm thinking, okay, he probably doesn't have the second one. We're literally like on like the 3rd turn or 4th turn of the game. He already played one before. So there's literally only one left in his hand or deck. So I'll just block 9. He's not going to get that Endless Arrow back, most likely. And that's going to cut his damage to nothing. I have like 4 counters already at this point because I had a sick listening turn. Then I'll just come in for like 8 dominate. He's going to have to give me his armor. He's going to lose everything. And then he did have the second Rain Razors.
Oh.
So that was like literally the worst block I could have done was block 9 on the first arrow when he's coming in with the second Rain Razor. So he like literally gets me down to like 4, I think. So now actually at this point he's at 4 because I forgot I had gotten down to 4. So we're at 4-4 all. So I come in now at the dominate, like I said. He does give me the equipment. Goes down to 1 because I'm literally coming in for 9 dominates. He used to give me the 2 block hood, the tunic, and then a card. So he's down to 1. And he loses the Arsenal cards. And then he comes in on his turn for red Blood Rot arrow, whatever that one's called. I forget. You know what it is. It's the red one that hits and gives you a Blood Rot. Yeah, thank you. Red Infecting Shot. I block 2 cards. Then he codexes me for another one. So I lose a card because I do have a Nourishing Emptiness in the graveyard. That has to go now into the arsenal. I lose a card. Luckily, I still have a 3 block and the gloves to block, but now I'm going to lose my counters because I'm left with just a Nourishing Emptiness in Arsenal. But off the Premeditate hit, he arsenals a card with no hood now, so he's no way to give arrows go again. So that was, it was 2 mistakes by 2 players. Unfortunately, the player that makes a second mistake often gets punished harder than the player that makes the first mistake. Yeah. So he's only able then to, on his turn now, come back with a Winter's Bite into Arctic Incarceration. I'm left with a hand of 3 reds and a yellow. So I discard a red for the effect because it was a red Winter's Bite. And then I just swing the Dawnblade. He's give me a card. All he's able to do again now is just Winter's Bite me into the red Infecting Shot that he put in Arsenal. I was able to block that out, keep a blue, and swing the Nourishing for 6 dominate. That's the game. So wow. A game I think that, could have been won either way if, both players had not made their mistake. But, it's a 9-round day. It happens. It happens to the best of us. You're not going to play perfectly all day. You're just not.
It's like 10, 11 hours of Flesh and Blood at that point because there's like 15-minute places where they count and then people are outside it's literally a whole 12-hour day.
Yeah, I mean, so it was a crazy round, a last round. We both ended at 1-1. When I had made that 9 block, mistake, we'll call it, because I probably shouldn't have done that. I should have blocked on the second one or even the third one because I'm a 30 life, right? Like, yeah, this is Lexi. They're gonna, with 2 Rain Razors, Endless Arrow activations on the Volterra are live, so it's like I was just looking to cut the damage. I honestly probably could have just not even blocked at that turn and just like, oh, here's like 15 dominate. You're at 4. Bye bye. But yeah, I screwed it up. I was a little bit sure of myself on that turn. I was feeling so good that I was like, I don't even think I can mess this up. And clearly that was wrong thinking. Yeah. And then as soon as he had codex me that following turn, I was in the gutter, man. I was like, I fucking lost this game. Like I can't believe I did that. And then, then when actually it was funny. The judge actually pointed out because he went to load an arrow for the second slot, and the guy's like, oh, you don't have, the hood. He was like, oh no, I don't have a hood. And I was like, and then I was like, oh no, he doesn't have a hood. Like, it was like, oh, like I was like, I didn't even think about it. I was so tired. I was like, yeah, he's got second Arsenal slot. He's Lexi, of course he does. Like, then I was like,
I've been there too.
Yeah,
just like watching opponents make mistakes. You're like, that's probably right.
Yeah. I wish we could all play perfectly every single turn, every single game, and then but it's just this is a game that's very mentally taxing. Combat tricks too on both sides. He's got the double rain razors. Like I've got pumps.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. Like I said, I thought I was playing the odds right because he had already played a rain razors. He was showing one. I thought the chances that he had all three and like the top like 20 cards of his deck were gonna be like none. But clearly that was wrong.
Yeah.
So again, it's a mistake I'm never gonna make again. So
it was
it's
a decent
good learning.
It's a decent bet.
Like this is chess. Like I wouldn't consider that a blunder, but I would consider it a significant inaccuracy, right? Like there was no reason to block 9 there. I just thought for sure. I was like, even if I block 9 here, I'm not going to lose this game. And I was very wrong because Codex and Nourishing Emptiness really can be the reason you lose games.
Codex is
and
bad.
and a lot of Dorinthia's cut Nourishing for that reason because it's so important to be able to dictate and manage your blocks exactly how you want to and to know exactly what value you're getting from your cards. And so when they're able to like play an arrow with Go again with an empty hand and Codex you to force out a card from hand and then force a sick on hit like Blood Rod Arrow, for instance, just get additional damage, or they can blow up your arsenal with like an inertia or whatever. So I've thought about cutting the Nourishing, but the high roll potential is so high with that card that you can just like draw it turn 1 and just be like, okay, I'm going to start my game with 5 intellect, and you're going to be so far behind from the amount of damage and tempo I'm going to be putting out that I feel like it's worth it. And again, the card is dominate, so it's like you could also just close games for you. Like if you don't get it early, you can just win the game with it on the spot and just be like, okay, here's 6 dominate.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about that? Like, maybe you took my counters off, because a lot of times Lexi games come down to like you're gonna build counters, they're gonna do their Lexi things, and at one point in the game, they'll probably try and take the counters off because the math is going too far in your favor. So there's gonna be one turn where they actually try to take the counters off and block 9 or something. And if you're not able to come over the top of that and you lose your counters, you oftentimes just lose the game because now you're set so far back on the math that they're never gonna block again. They're going to be presenting way above rate damage. You're not presenting above rate damage anymore because you don't have counters anymore. So you just end up getting in this spot where you're not getting reprise effects anymore. You're singing Steelblade stuck ass because that card does nothing if they don't block. So like you need to encourage your opponent to block for Dorinthia to be good. And Lexi, unfortunately, oftentimes looks at her hand and is like, yeah, this hand blocks 10 or it does 19. Yeah, I'm not gonna block. Yeah, so like getting to a point where like you get an early glistening or you get like an early nourishing that draws you the glistening because you got 5 intellect, maybe you pocketed something spicy like a twinning blade. Like I feel like the nourishing is just good for that because it also can catch you back up in those moments where you did lose the counters. Like you can just block out nourishing, go up to 5 intellect, and now even if they codex you, it's like it ends up kind of not being too bad because you had 5 intellect and you're getting a nice nourishing back, and you can even try and fit it in at the end of like a spoils, or if you want to do like maybe you have like a lot of sources to go again, so you could be like swing nourishing. Like I feel like it opens up a lot of the game, even if it can screw you late game. Just it has that potential sometimes to just be the card that wins you the game.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's also just good for fatigue. It's also just good fatigue card because you could just be like nourishing over and over, and you could actually win fatigue that way. I don't think you should plan for that, but the potential is there. And I have won games versus Lexi doing that, just over and over nourishing them because I keep codexing me and I just keep getting 5 intellect, and now I can just block 5 cards or 4 cards if they want to try it again. Try codex me again. They only have 3 codexes too, so if you can get to a point where you've preserved enough life with your armor and maybe blocking with some of the cards that don't fit the map because they're too expensive, like the overpowers, like the routes. You can win fatigue by just being at such a high life total that the chip isn't enough to kill you. And they don't have a weapon.
Yeah, you just Dawnblade them for 3 every turn until they die.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so that was the RTN. 9/ really kind of 8 rounds for me. Yeah. But it was solid. I only dropped the concession game at the end. It was great. It was a great experience. A great day. Definitely my best run at any tournament so far, which is nice. So that felt rewarding.
Now you setting your eyes on nationals now? Yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely going to Nats. Once I'd already secured my top 4 spot, I was like, could breathe kind of a sigh of relief. Just like, okay, I made it to Nats. Even if I don't win, which I would like to, but even if I don't, I'm still able to go to Nats because this was the only RTN I got to play. I had to work one weekend and then I was out of town the next weekend, and then it was like yeah, this is it. Like I could have gone to Mr. Bill's, I guess, up in the Seattle area, but it was like 5 hours round trip driving, and then going to be playing in the RTN again the next day. It was like I felt like my odds are better just like not forcing the RTN and
Yeah.
just like let's just be well rested for the Sunday RTN. Let's just focus on the deck. Think I don't actually play probably as much as a lot of other people. I
Yeah,
maybe
you
play
you
like
didn't play very much at all, and then you just went to one
yeah.
RTN, crushed it, and then left.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I maybe if I'm lucky get like 4 or 5 Talon Star games in a week, and then I play one Armory on Mondays, and that's the breadth of my flesh and blood in the week. So sometimes I was playing Thursdays a little bit too, and Wednesdays, but I mean, it's just like
Yeah, it's a
it
lot of
takes
work.
up so much time, man. It's
Yeah.
like I love the game, but the commute, the rounds, it's just yeah. And Talon Star isn't always the best experience either because
That's true. A lot of
you
bad
get such a
players, a lot of weird decks.
yeah, like you'll play a deck and you'll be like the chances of me seeing this at Nats or in any real tournament is like 0.001%. So how much effort and time do I
Until you
really want to
get
spend playing against this weird off meta trash deck that I can probably beat in my sleep? It's like
until you play a rogue Kano at an RTN and they one shot.
well, it's Kano. That's why I run to Oasis Respites. I hate
Yeah.
Wizards. I hate the Wizards so much.
On that
I'm
note
like
here,
literally. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go to the
you
deck.
want to
I've
jump
been
into the
talking too
list?
much.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we have the deck in front of us. I'll put the link in the description below. We were eagerly talking about how much we hate Kano between those swaps there.
Yeah.
He mentioned he has 2 Oasis Respite just so he never has to look at a Kano player and lose. But you wanna take us through your list? I think you have
Yeah.
pretty much standard equipment, right?
I mean, a lot of. I actually think that looking at a lot of other Dory players who are playing, Josh Lau obviously being the most famous among them, but looking at what a lot of them are cutting AB entirely, so they're not even running even one AB. Because I think that I think they know, like most of us do, that like oftentimes even pitching 3 to block Arcane is just like if you're playing like a Viscera or something, it's just not worth it. And then
Yeah.
when you're playing against Briar, sorry, it's like just totally brain farted on the hero name. Like, yeah, they're almost never presenting enough arcane damage where like you can convert like a card into 3 block because they're usually just like, okay, like here's the 1 rune chant or like here's Rosetta Thorn, and like they'll probably do like the 1 rune chant and the 1 Rosetta Thorn, like, and that's 2 damage. So like you're converting 1 card into two block really. So that's not what Dorinthia is trying to do. Her cards all block 3, and you want to take advantage of that fact. So a lot of them cut the 1, but I run the 1 because Viscerai will present more than 3 arcane damage in a turn a lot of the time. It's specifically actually the Viscerai that I played. His turn 1 was literally like read the runes, and second turn read the runes. Like so he like already had like by the time he even swung his first attack, he had 9 rune chants.
Ugh.
So being able to say, okay, I'm gonna be able to at least convert these blues that are bad into 3 block is it's like I'll call it 3 block, but I realize 3 prevention, whatever. That is good. And also, it's just like against like the one Icelander you might see at tournaments now that she's fallen out of favor, like when they go to do like the chilling ice feign or whatever it is, you can still pay the 1 to prevent a damage and then pay the 2 effect, so you're not getting like you're still getting value out of your card rather than having to pay 2.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Again, I also run Oasis Respite, so like I can like full block a Blazing with Oasis and the 1 AB. So it just gives me.
Aether.
Sorry, I don't know any card names. So
Yeah,
you're gonna have to be on your best behavior with those card names because I know I won't. But the one that does 5 damage, it does 4, but they make it 5 with the Metacarpus node. So this plus the 1 AB is like, nah, you're not getting any extra from me, bitch. You're gonna get nothing. I used to run 3 AB because I was just like, fuck you, like you're not getting anything.
I hate
like
so much.
I know, I hate him. I hate that guy. He's my least favorite hero to play against, other than Briar, probably. So like those 2 are like number 1, number 2.
Honestly, yeah, Kano, Briar, Viscerai, and Icelander. I don't like.
Yeah. There's a recurring theme here. It seems like arcane damage is really fucking annoying playing it.
It seems like it seems like arcane damage is the armor is not good enough. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so looking at the armor, I mean, like, just for the new Dorinthia players out there, like, Braid Force Bracers, right? It gives you value on the second swing when they're not blocking because you're probably going to have leftover pitch from not playing your attack reacts because they're not blocking, and they, you need reprise, so you usually get a lot of value. So also sometimes you just have like 3 blues and like something good, but the 3 blues is just a lot of pitch, so you can get damage that way. It's also just, I mean, it's a battle worn 2. Like that's most of the battle worn 2 cards are like some of the best in the game.
Yeah.
Because it just blocks 3 and then still has a persistent effect. Like they stopped printing cards like this because they realized, oh my god, this is such a strong effect. Like just a card that just has persistent value, plus it gives you 3 life, plus that's oftentimes saving you cards because it's, you know, it's blocking breakpoints. Like you can get 2 block out of this, and then with a 1 card 3 block and the 1 remaining, you can just cover a snatch. Like it's just like battle worn equipment is just so good in general. But then again, like, you know, she kind of needs that card because without that kind of value, like she would kind of suck. Courage, I mean, you know, this is like your, you know, this is like your 3 oak or your, you know, massive spike card, right? Because it just makes your swings free. It puts a lot of math in your favor now because you can do cheeky things, right? Like off a yellow, just like spoil Steelblade Supremacy, and now you still got, you know, 2 or 3 cards. No, sorry, you still got like 2 cards maybe. So you got a big pump, maybe like a route. You're presenting go again. You don't even need to have pitch left over to swing again. You know, you can triple hit with this really easily because your swings are free, right? So it's just like this card. Well, plus it's a temper too, so you can still get 2 block out of it and then still get the effect. Or if you're in a desperate need of a 1 block, you know, you had it. You're gonna lose your massive spike card, but I mean, it's there when you need it to save your life. I have had to block with it a handful of times. You know, it's very rare. Because it's almost always better to just pop this for the effect, but you know, just the ability to do it is really nice. So
yeah,
you're gonna run that. You're gonna run this. You're gonna run courage in the aggro matchups most of the time. So like your Lexies, the ninjas, Viscerai sometimes.
okay,
You'll run it. At least I run it in Viscerai because like I'm not really trying to block Viscerai that much. I'm trying to make him block me, right? So like getting to use this to save cards to stop like, you know, some of their on hits like a Mauve Skies buffed thing or Mauve Skies go again thing. Like you could just be like, okay, like let me just throw 2 pieces of equipment at it, and I'm, you know, I'm not losing the tunic or anything. So Briar, you'll take this, right? Because Briar games are usually very fast. They're gonna channel mount you at some point, and you're gonna try and take tempo when they do that because they're probably not gonna block. So you're going to hope you have something spicy like a glistening, and you're just going to wail on them because, you know, it's a channel mount turn. They don't want to give up their cards blocking because that's a ton of value that they're leaving on the table. So you can pop this and just like really go to town on them when they just played our first channel, you know, assuming you've already blocked with this. Because you don't want to pop this before you block with it, right? You want to get the 2 life out of it. So you're encouraged to use the equipment early to preserve cards so you can then get the effects on demand without having to worry about leaving value on the table. So that's what you're mainly use that for. I mean, Crown of Providence, we can go that one next. I mean, if you're a new player, you know, this is a card that lets you cycle out your arsenal when they're presenting an on hit that would normally destroy it. You can use it to try and salvage a hand that would be, you know, bonkers if you had a blue, but you don't have one. So you can try and dig for one by just blocking with this and giving up, you know, your least valuable card. It's just, I mean, it's just really good. It's just a ton of value. I mean, Arcanite Skullcat would be a good replacement, obviously. Like most people know that, but again, I don't know if this is your first blood video, so I want to. For the viewers out there who aren't familiar, let's explain. Dawnblade, I mean, the big D. That's what the deck's all about. You just want to swing D on their face every turn, multiple times.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, hitting twice is what this deck is all about. You need to find ways to swing this weapon twice. That is the entire game plan, is swing this weapon twice, get encounters, and rinse and repeat every single turn. So it's just a great weapon. It's one of the best weapons in the game. The entire deck is built around it, and not many heroes can say their entire deck is built around it and are actually competitively viable. So
it is the only. I think this and Bolton are like the only 2 weapon
decks,
right?
Yeah, the 2 warriors, right? They're weapon centric decks, and it shows. Tunic. So you'll bring this over Courage in longer matchups, like more mid-range matchups. So you'll bring this in versus like Brava. You'll bring it in versus Azalea because you're going to want to try and get value out of your Steelblade Shunts and Oasis Respites because this card, you can pop this counter, get a resource, and then you're playing Steelblade Shunt and Oasis, you know, for free, air quotes. You're not. You spent 3 turns waiting for the counter, but, you know, it feels like it's for free and it feels really good. So, you know, getting to convert a card into 6 block off 1 pitch that you got from Tunic is just like so good. It's so good. You're also going to bring Tunic in the mirror. I'll mention that too because again, it's another mid-range matchup. You're going to be blocking a lot probably because, you know, you're each trying to do the same thing. So you're at some point you're each going to try and stop each other. So getting value with Oasis Respite and Steelblade Shunt is really good. And then also you can do cheeky stuff like on their turn, you can try and get out of Pride. I wouldn't probably pop Tunic for that, but like I have done it sometimes in a game I know it's going to go really long, because if you pop this, play out the Pride, on your turn you're now adding another counter back to Tunic, so you're 1/3 closer to your next Tunic trigger. Again, not something I do always, but I usually do it in the mirror, because it's also forcing them to play out even more cards, because now you're going to be swinging in, for 4 or 7 or whatever. They're going to have to give you 3 cards or equipment to stop that, or their D-reacts, which is great. If you can convert Iron Song Pride into a D-react, like, nice. Like, that card sucks in the mirror most of the time, so saying, like, yeah, I'm going to take my Pride and get a sync out of you, like, that's perfect. So, yeah,
I
again,
didn't think about that.
it opens up play lines like that. I don't do it often, but I have done it,
there.
and it has worked out very well. Bolters, I mean, you bring this in every matchup because the effect is incredible. This is what's going to let you get triple hits, right? Because it's on hit, gain, go again. So you can do something like, Steel Blade, Supremacy, Spoils of War, Swing. Oh, they overblocked. I got the twinning. Nice. So I popped the twinning. We had go again. We're going to swing again. We hit, pop Bolters, swing 3rd time. There you go. Or like if you get like, sometimes in the aggro matchup, right? Like you'll do like glistening swing, and they'll just like no blocks, and you'll be like, sweet. Swing again, and they're like, no blocks, and you're like, all right, twinning refraction bolters, swing again, and they're just like, oh my god, like, you just got 4 counters in 1 turn, like, Jesus.
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot of counters.
Take it, watch my D grow. So I'm saying, like, just, damn, like, just try and stop me now. I got 4 counters in 1 turn.
I can't imagine playing aggro decks, man. The idea of just watching you play glisten and not blocking, like, makes me uncomfortable.
Just watching my D get bigger and bigger right in my hands is just like scary. It's real scary.
Oh god. I'm getting demonetized.
Yeah.
Before I even got monetized.
You don't have to post this video. I don't mind. Iron Song Pride. I mean, I cut this card for a long time because in mid-range matchups it just feels awful. Because it's a 1 pump, and a lot of times mid-range decks are running D-reacts, and they're going to be able to easily stop this card. So it doesn't oftentimes threaten that much. But it's great in aggro because it just gives you a counter immediately, and they're usually not taking your counters off. So like this card ends up a lot of the time becoming way more than 3 damage. Like this card can. I mean, there have been in aggro matchups where like I never lost my counters, and it went to like turn 4 or 5. I was swinging multiple times. Like this card probably turned into like 10 damage. Yeah. So in aggro matchups, also just the high roll potential, where like you're playing against an aggro deck, and like they have a really good hand, or they don't want to give it up because they know they're not gonna have tempo. So they'll do something like, I'll just swing my Searing Ember Blade with no go again, right? And you're just like, okay, block 3, and then play out a Pride, and they're like, that's no good. Like, so you're just starting. You're starting your turn now with tempo, with counter already. And it's just like big yikes. Like you're in big trouble. So there have been times where like that exact situation I just said has happened, but I've put out 2 prides, and it was like, oh my god! Like I was like about ready to jump out of my skin when that happened. I was like, I literally just got to block 3 and put out 2 prides and take no damage. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, your first Dawnblade comes in for 5.
Yeah, I'm just like, Red Warrior's Valor, Dawnblade for 8 on hit, go again, and I've got 2 more cards, so yeah, suck it. Yeah, they're just like, drop my whole hand. I surrender. And I was just like, okay, like, route, let's keep going, baby. Like, you can't stop me.
Yeah, so makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, Iron Song Response, I mean, again, if you've played Dory, you already know this is a must-have card, but it's a 0 for 3 pump. Like, I mean, you just have to. The blues are just there because, like, sometimes, like, it's a 0, and, like, if you're, like, Red Warrior's Valor, and they're, like, block 6, you could be like, blue response to go to 7. Like, it's just a free pump that can make breakpoints, really hard for them to deal with. And if you can convert that into a Sink Below, whoo, baby, I'm like, as soon as someone Sink Belows my blue Iron Song response, I am like totally jazzed. Like, yes, I just converted a terrible card into a D-react. Like, Nourishing Emptiness, we talked about this card a lot already. Yeah, but Oasis Respite, I wanted to bring out one thing about this card is that it's a 2-card counter to Wizards, which, if you draw it, it can win you the game basically by itself. But I also took this card over 3AB because it's 2 more cards in the Fatigue matchups, which is usually the Mirror and the Guardians. And it also gets around their dominated attack, so it basically functions as like more D-reacts. So I thought this was better than running 3AB for that reason, because it's more cards for the pile. It's a defensive tool versus dominate decks like Azalea, Bravo, Old Him before he LLs in like a month.
Yeah.
So
It's a good card.
it's an all around utility card that I feel like you could honestly put in like almost any deck that's not aggro, and you won't be too sad about it. Especially if
Yeah.
you're a deck that's willing to pitch on the defensive side of things, like I am, like already for Steelblade Shunt. This and Steelblade Shunt together block 10 off 3 cards, which is not ideal, but it can save you on a dominate. They're like, okay, dominate Cripple Crush, right? You can just be like, I'm just gonna turn this into 10 block. I'm still gonna have 2 cards left over to do whatever, 1 to 2 cards to do whatever I want to do. I'm not gonna take the Cripple Crush effect. That's another thing too, is like there have been times where like I'll block 11 and they have the pummel and I'm just like Oasis, and it's like, oh yes, like I gotcha.
Gotcha. No pummel here today.
Yeah, that's happened multiple times. Or they've
Yeah.
thought that they really got me, and they really didn't.
And it works on CNC pummel, which is delicious.
Yeah, it works on CNC. It's also a really nice bait card for Azuri because it's an instant. So if they're like, swap in something spicy, you just be like, all right, Oasis, and just save 4 life, right? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Especially if you run. Oh, that's another matchup you run Tunic, right? For those watching at home. So you can turn Tunic into this 4 block and they lose their on hit value. So Alfred Blood, this is Alfred Blood and Puncture, the only 2 3 pumps I run because they're the only good ones. Alfred Blood being the best because it gives you a break point on the second swing if it hits. Well, actually, it doesn't even have to hit. So you can actually go in for a Nursing Emptiness for 7 because it's just a reprise. So if they blocked with the card, you Alfred Blood, you get 1+1 on your next attack. If they still stuff you, but you have go again and you have the Nourishing Emptiness, which isn't often, but if that has happened before, and it's just gross. But so it's just good. It's just really good. Like when you get this to hit, you get to swing again. You can swing Dawnblade in now for 4. You're gonna take armor. You're gonna take multiple cards. You're gonna take D-reacts. Like it's just really good. Puncture. So I run the 1 of Puncture because even when I was running 3 of, I found I was not getting the piercing effect that often. But what running at least one does is it lets you get some cheeky bullshit in, like they exact block with equipment because they really want to keep their hand. So like maybe they do a situation like this, which has happened a lot. Like Warrior's Valor, you swing, they say no blocks. You go in now on the second swing with Singing, right? They try and stop the counter by just blocking 3, and you can like, they'll block. Maybe you do something like Sharpen Steel. Let me put this different scenario. You like Sharpen Steel swinging in for 6. Maybe they'll exact block for 6, and they'll throw some equipment in there because they really want to keep their hand. Like they'll throw in like, I don't know, like Reinar might do something like throw in like Boots,
Scabbies,
plus a 1 block somewhere. Yes, you throw in Scabbies. Like maybe he already blocked with the Scabbies, and then he'll throw in Crown, right? So he's blocking 6 with the Crown, the 1 block Scabbies in a card. You can do something like Singing for Puncture. Now you're over by 5. So even if he has the pocket D-react, it's not enough. So. Yeah. That's really what it's for. It's for those situations where a lot of times people will try an exact block with equipment to keep cards, especially when they have the D-react, because they'll know they'll get the D-react value and then keep the rest of their cards. So the Puncture is the 5 pump to say, you can sit on a sink another turn and I'm going to get my counter. And now that sink's going to have a little bit harder time getting value because my Dawnblade is just enlarging itself.
You've gotten me with this card actually a couple times.
Yeah, Puncture. The 1 of has been really spicy too because those exact playlines, like I just said, and that playline comes up frequently.
Yeah,
like
I did not. It was exactly that. It was like I did Boots and a D-react because it was perfect luck, and I expected you to go over by 3 or something like that, and then you just pulled a Puncture and invalidated everything I did.
Yep. Yeah, Puncture is a really nice printed card that we got from what was that, Dynasty, I think.
Yeah.
Along with Iron Song Pride.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are like some of the only cards we run from Dynasty, but it's just really good. Overpower, I mean, it's a 6 pump. It's really good in the mid-range matchups because they expect you to go over by 3. You're going over by 6. It's really tough to deal with when you're actually able to play it. It is expensive, so getting energy potions out can really help this card's value a lot because they have to think about it now. Yeah. I run 2 because oftentimes I found that when I would draw the 1, I'd have to block with it, so I just had to keep a second one. Also, sometimes you just like have a ton of blues, but you have the Singing, and they don't know, right? Because all your stuff is attack react. So they'll block. You have a ton of blues. You can like Singing out and overpower with the other blue you have in hand, and it's just like I've done that a lot. And now you're pumping by 7. It's like that's tough.
Yeah, it's hard to get 7 block out of your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, the Guardians have, like, staunch responses and whatnot, but Route, I mean, if you've played against Dorinthia, you know how scary this card is. This card wins games because the end of the game, when you're at, like, 6 life and under, like, you basically now have to block 6 the whole rest of the game, because off of blue and 1 card in hand, if you don't block, I'll just pump the 6. If you do block, I'll pump the 6 and send the card back. So I run 3 up for that reason, because usually the situation that I find myself in is I have to block 1 early, I play 1 in the mid game, and I play 1 to close the game out. And this card just wins games. I mean, I win games every day with this card. Like, you have to run it.
Just winning games every day, baby. Just winning games.
Sharp and steel. I mean, this is 0-3 pump, which is really good. We run Iron Song response for that exact reason. This is obviously a pump before the swing, so they know it's coming. But like,
yeah, it's 3.
Sometimes you're just like, okay, Sharp and Steel, Warriors Valor, 9 on hit go again. Like, sometimes they're just like, I don't want to give up 9 block. Like, if they're an aggro deck, they're like, me blocking 9 is my whole hand. Like, I'm not doing anything now. So you can just Sharp and Steel, you make their life hard, you make your Dawnblade hard, and it's just good. You sharpen the Dawnblade, and they don't want to see it. Sink Below, I mean, it's the best 4 block in the game.
Yeah, do you run Fate? No, so you just have sinks? Okay.
Yeah, so I only bring sinks in for the matchups that run like Dominate. So the Guardians and Azalea and the Mirror. Those and Azuri. That's really the only time I bring sync, and I don't even bring it in aggro, because again, I'm not trying to draw sync and block. I'm trying to draw cards that are good, that do damage.
That makes sense.
Spoils, I mean, unconditional go again on the Dawnblade is just really strong. The on hit doesn't matter at all in this deck, but I have seen some people run in like cash out or trade in or whatever the fuck that card's called.
Yeah.
And to try and get value as coppers, but you can't rely on that, because you only get the coppers on hit. If you're playing the mid range, if you're playing mid range decks, they're not gonna just let you hit often unless their hand is gas. If they're like, all right, I'm just gonna pulverize you, or I'm gonna blood rush you, or I'm going to just run the ledger you with a bunch of pumps. Like, they're like, you don't know when you're gonna get the coppers. So I think the high roll potential for those trade-ins or whatever, or cash ins, cash out, cash in, cash out, whatever. Yeah. Steelblade Shunt, I mean, it's with Tunic, it's 1 card 6 block. That's why we run it. Yeah, it's really good. Steelblade Supremacy, I mean, this card is just massive gas. 2+2 on all your swings, on hit, draw card. It's just amazing. Like, this card with a triple hit turn is just when you have like a triple hit turn, it's it's good. Warriors Valor, we run the Rainbow because, again, this deck's all about getting go again. And this is on hit go again. So it's a pump and on hit go again. And it really incentivizes your opponent to block, which is what we want them to do. Because all of our other cards we have Reprise, right? So we want our opponent to block. And this says, hey, if you block me, I don't get go again. So, and if you don't block me, you're giving me a 2-card 9, which is really good. So, like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's a great card.
Yeah, every time you see a red one, I'm always like, oh no.
Yeah, red Warriors Valor is like one of the best cards in the deck for sure.
Yeah, red and Steel Blade. I'm just those cards. Every time you play those, I'm like, oh man, how bad is this gonna be?
It's I mean, Glistening Steel Blade. Talk about best cards on the deck. Like, this card against aggro is like literally the only reason why this deck even works, because you need this card to get you a lot of counters. If we didn't have this card, we would have no chance versus aggro, because you just wouldn't ramp fast enough to do enough damage to kill them. So. And then against mid range, like when you're able to get multiple hits, like you can put yourself in a position sometimes where like you've got 3 counters and they're just never able to take them off because they're not drawing the D-Reacts, or you're drawing your Dominate card, which is right next after this one. And you just get to cement those counters on your Dawnblade basically, and you just get a ton of value out of your cards, and they're just eating the Dawnblade damage, and it's great. Iron Song Termination, I mean, this card is not that great when you don't have counters, so when you do have counters and it's a situation where they want to block, it's like, not today. Like, you'll have to try next turn. You just get to cement those counters on the Dawnblade and just go to work, because again, unless they've got like a really good D-React in Arsenal, like they're not gonna be able to stop you, because this is the only
card I fear. When I was like, when we were originally playing, you had one copy of this, and like every time you played it, I was mad. And now you run 3, and I'm 3 times mad.
I went up to 3 because I was thinking about my deck, and I was like, what cards feel really good to play? And I was like, this card does a lot of the time. So let's just run 3 because it feels good. And like that's actually a really good litmus test for what cards are good in your deck, because which ones are you really happy to see and really want to play? Like, which cards are you willing to take damage for? This is not always a card that I'm willing to take damage for. But again, when I have 1 counter, 2 counter, 3 counters on the Dawnblade, like, yeah, I'm willing to take some damage to play this, because I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna get 2 turns of value out of this massive Dawnblade which is really important for winning games, both mid-range and aggro. So, and in times when you don't have the counters, okay, it's a 3-block. That's still good.
And it's Dorinthia massacring my people as art to make it even
Pretty
worse.
much. Yeah, pretty much.
So sad.
Run through. I mean, this card's great in aggro because they don't want to block. So, especially the first swing that's naked. So you'll just like throw out a naked Dawnblade and they're like, no blocks. And you're just like, run through. And they're like, yeah, that's a good card. Every time I run through an aggro deck, they always have to make a comment about how good this card is, which is really funny to me because like I don't actually think this card is like amazing, but it is really good in those situations where they don't have a D react. Because if they have even just a sink below, like they just stuff this, right? Like you're just like they're like, oh no blocks, and I'm just like run through, and they're just like sink below, and I'm just like, unless I got a pump too, which you know, a lot of times you do, but sometimes you don't. Like maybe you got this pump right here. It only pumps for one, and they sink and they sink below you at Arsenal, so this card's trash because it doesn't do anything. So
that's true.
Yeah, this card is amazing, and this again, I like Iron Song Determination. This card is amazing when you are winning because they're gonna try and block. You're gonna get the value out of this card which is tutor whatever attack react you want. You've got a lot of good ones, right? That's what this deck's all about. So you know, tutor out. You know, go again with the glint, and now you're gonna draw a card too because you already got reprised from this. You tutor out twinning, maybe they stuffed you, and you're just gonna swing again with twinning, or maybe you know you're gonna go grab that overpower because you got another blue in hand like I just talked about, or you're gonna grab route and you're just gonna win the game sometimes. Like this card, like it's just a tutor for your best attack react for the moment. Again, it only works when they block from hand, but when you're winning, they tend to start doing that, and you tend to start getting value out of this card. So.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Twinning, I mean, again, this is another card that if we didn't have this deck would kind of suck because you would just be able to easily block 12 and I would be able to come over the top a lot of the time. So having the twinning, you know, well, it lets you get around the situations where they overblock your first initial swing, but maybe it's a spoils and you go again, or maybe you just got the glint too or whatever. Or it also enables triple hit turns, right? With glistening steel blade. So you can glistening and swing. They go no blocks.
Get 4
You swing again. Yeah, you swing again. No blocks. Okay, twinning and pop boots. Swing again. You just got 4 counters that turn. Like I've done that before a lot of times, and it's been really, really good. And sometimes you don't even have to pop the boots because you have another go again. And it's just like this card is just so it's situationally great, but when it works, it oftentimes when you get the triple hit, when you get the go around their big overblock, like it just wins you the game.
Yeah. I've gotten this card is like one of the god shoes, right? Like this card and this card. Those are the ones where it's like you think you're in control and then suddenly you're not.
Yeah, exactly. You think you're doing the right thing, playing a certain way, and then you just get punished. Because that card exists, basically. But I mean, again, without those cards, I honestly don't know if this deck would function because you need them to cement your winning position. Energy pot. I mean, is this something to do when they stuff your go again? Like maybe you spoils and there's like block 8 and you're just like, okay, energy pot, and now I'm set up for next turn. Or sometimes like turn 1, like they made you go first, which usually sucks as Dorinthia. So you can just be, all right, I'll just toss out an E-pot, Arsenal, my best card, and we'll just move on to turn 2.
Yeah, makes sense.
Glint, I mean, this is the best blue in the game in my opinion because
it's one of them. For sure.
I mean, if you ever made a list of top 5 best blues in the deck, like this is on that list for sure because it's a free source of go again. Plus, it's card neutral or positive, I guess, when they block because you get a card out of it. So it's just basically give your Dawnblade go again, draw a card. Like that's really good. Sometimes you got that red overpower in Arsenal. You're like, ooh man, if I draw a blue, I'm gonna blow him out. Oh, I got it. Or you got the E-pot, right? I mean, dude, let's like do that. You draw something spicy. You got E-pot. You pop that. You pitch that card you drew, so you can keep swinging. Like I mean, that card's just incredible. Hit and run.
Really
I mean, it's another hit and run's free source of go again. You know, it's good.
This is an interesting.
Last ditch effort. We can talk a little bit about this card because the main reason why this card is in here is primarily for Oldhim because when those games oftentimes go to time or to fatigue, so when you're on your last 4 cards, you're gonna pitch in such a way that you're with these 2 and 2 blues, and you're just gonna hammer them for 16. And even Oldhim at the end of the game gonna have a hard time stopping 16 damage. And if he's at like 4 life, like you know that might just close out the game. Or you might just eat all his cards. He might be like, oh, in order not to die, I have to block with my last 4 cards, and then I just lose because now I'm out of cards, and you still have the 2 blues you pitched to pay for these.
Them up, right?
Yeah, and then you're just downblading them every turn. and they're in trouble. So I mean, it's mainly for that. It's also good in the mirror because again, the mirror oftentimes goes for fatigue, so you could just 16 him at the end of the game. Azuri, another fatigue matchup. So you just really want to make sure you don't block this card early because you'll turn off nourishing if you do. So go ahead and block with that other blue if you have it, because you don't want to block with this one.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then precision
Precision
press.
press. Yeah, I cut this card for a long time. But against Dromai, it's really good because it lets you just go again, hit a dragon, and then swing face, or hit 2 dragons or whatever. It's also just like sometimes you're just desperate for go again. Like you're just like, God, I need anything. I need any go again. It's also unconditional. There's also unconditional go again. So like you can just like pierce precision press, swing. They might overblock you because you have go again, and then you just epot, right? Or you just nourishing. Like it's just like it's an unconditional go again is actually kind of hard to come by in Dorinthia. And the only other one I can think of really is like that I'm not running is like either more hit and runs or more precision presses or driving blade. But driving blade costs 2, and so that's sex. So
I mean, now that you've been playing with this deck for a while now, you won the RTN. Which cards do you think were like the highest performing, and is there any cards you think about cutting?
yeah, I mean, well, highest performers do you want highest performers or over performers? I guess we'll do highest performers. Overperformance. I mean, for sure, Sharpened Steel. I have to give a call out for Sharpened Steel because that's a card that does not get run in every Dorinthia deck. But just making this card has, because it costs 0, it has so many good use cases. Like you can do stuff like Warrior's Valor swing, right, and then they go no blocks because you have another card, right, and it's this. So and then you go okay, Sharpened Steel swing again. Now you're presenting 6 again. They have to give you 2 cards to stop the counter. Yeah, and that's just incredible. A lot of the time. And if you have a free arsenal, like, and they stuffed your first swing on the Warrior's Valor, okay, no big deal. Pocket this bad boy. It's gonna come in handy later. It's free. You can just make anything 3 more at will with this card. It's so flexible. First swing, second swing, third swing. It doesn't matter when you play this card. It's just great. Another overperformer was definitely the yellow Warriors Valors. A lot of Warriors are putting this back in the deck. And I'm on that hype train too because it's still just a 2-card 8 if you don't do anything about it, right? If you're just goldfishing this card, you're like, this is 2-card 8. This card is great. 2 and it's just another. It just threatens go again. Like again, you're just threatening to do what the Dawnblade wants to do, which is swing again, and it's presenting 5 damage. A lot of decks are still just gonna end up blocking 6. You're still gonna come over the top. If they have the sync, you probably weren't gonna be able to stop it anyway. So like the math ends up working out pretty okay on this card, even though it's not the 6 attack that the red one gives you. The yellow ends up being really great. I mean, Determination is another overperformer. Like every single game, all 8 of them that I played in the RTN, I played this card, and my opponent like literally had a face that was just like, I am so screwed because they wanted to stop me, and now they can't. Like this card just tells your opponent like your life just got a lot harder, buddy. Like you have to give me that D-Reactant Arsenal that maybe you wanted to keep for a different moment. You have to give me armor. You have to give me everything, right? Give me your soul, like basically, to stop my Dawnblade right now. Like obviously this card sucks when you don't have counters, but like I'm getting counters all day, every day. So I play this and I got 2 counters, and it's just like, what do you do? Like you're not taking my counters out this turn. You're not taking my counters out this turn. So I'm gonna get a ton of value next turn. And I'm gonna have go again because that's what this deck's built for. I've got like 20 sources of go again in this deck or some shit. So I mean, and then again, you might do stuff like I talked about in my 3rd game, where you just like you play someone and you just draw this 3 turns in a row, and it's like they just can't do anything because you just dominate, gain a counter, dominate, gain another counter, dominate, gain another counter. Now you're at like 4 or 5 counters, and now you're doing so much damage you don't even know what to do with yourself. You're just like, I'm just doing damage. I'm playing the game.
Too many cards. I've
got too many.
Any weak cards? Anything you want to cut, you think?
Yeah, I mean, Last Ditch Effort is probably coming out now that Oldhim is LL.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think you need this card anymore. It was really just for that matchup, and it also had high roll or fatigue potential in other matchups. But that doesn't mean I want it for that. I'm not planning to go to fatigue in most matchups. It just happens to go that route. And this card is going to come out most likely because I want it to be something more valuable or more, this is only a good card at the end of the game, and you might not even get there. So I want it to be a card that's going to have more value throughout the entire course of the game. I'm currently thinking right now of putting in copying, kind of what Josh Lai did, and either putting into 2 driving blades, because like I said, sometimes you're just desperate for going in. I'm also thinking about, putting in that third copy of Sharpened Steel. Like I talked about how good it was. I'm only running 2. That card might come out and I just might end up being 3, and then I might put in, the third run through, or I might grab another blue, maybe even 3 epots. I might get super greedy.
What do you think of
Yeah.
her new specialization?
I mean, that's obviously a tech card, for I think New Prism, because they know historically how bad the Prism Dorinthia matchup was, and they want to make sure that doesn't happen again. So that card is really only going to be played if the new Prism is good. Otherwise, I'm not going to play it. I maybe would have thought about playing it in Oldhim because it turns off their D-reactability and it turns off their crown.
Yeah,
so like I would probably mainly still tech it in for I would probably, it's another card that I would tech into the deck probably for Prism, but not be sad that it's in the deck for Oldhim because it does have some relevant effects. It's also not entirely irrelevant versus Dromai, because a lot of Dromai do run sand cover.
Yeah.
So
I
again the chances that card lines up the turn that they want to sand cover you is kind of low, but I if it's a pile card that you're just throwing in because you need deck size, like again, you're not unhappy with that effect because it does eliminate some of the potential effects they wanted to, have on you. Also, another thing to think about with Jomai is that it does also turn off the endurance counter for Yenderai. So you might be able to kill Yenderai with just like,
interesting.
You can just, because it doesn't say prevention effects for heroes, it's just prevention effects period. So you don't have to spend 6 damage on a Yenderai now. You can just kill it for 3. Again, what are the chances that lines up? It'll probably happen. It's not going to be 0, but like I don't think you play that card because it lets me one card. It lets me one card hit a Yenderai. Woohoo! Like no, it's like you don't play like that. But
yeah,
it might happen. You might be like, all right, that was kind of cool. Whatever.
Yeah, that was nice. I guess appreciate it. All right. I mean, any closing thoughts before we wrap up here?
Any other thoughts? I think for new Dorinthia players, I mean, I didn't feel this way when I played Dorinthia, but I've heard a lot of people say this, is that they think Dorinthia is a difficult hero to play. And I don't feel that way, but if you are having difficulties, just, I would say be patient, be more patient probably is what you would need to do, because she is a deck that is a knowledge check. So really smart players are probably going to outplay you when you first start playing her because they know how to play the deck better than you do. So just keep at it. Don't be too afraid to block cards. Another thing too is like sometimes Dorinthia's really good hands look weird. So don't really like take your time to look at the hand and really think about, what if things go right for me? How good is this hand if they don't do anything? How good is this hand if they drop 12 on my first swing? There's so many different things you have to think about. So just take the time to do it, because that's going to help you learn how to play the deck better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. And like you said, some of her best hands, you showed me some hands, you're like, damn, this is gas. And I look at it, I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. So, and another thing too is like singing really makes some turns, like singing turns can take a while to calculate, because it's like, okay, if they do this, I'm going to go grab this. If they don't do this, I'm going to go grab that. If they don't even block at all, this card sucks. Like, so, like I can't do anything. So like, another thing too is like, really pay attention to how many sources of go again you have left in your deck if you're a new Dorinthia player. I mean, that's why we're running so many, is so that way it's like, okay, I still have a lot, I still have a lot, still have a lot. We're turn 8 in the game and I still have a ton of sources of go again, because once you're out of sources of go again, you better hope that they have almost no life left and that your routes are lethal, because that's your only way to win.
That's your only kill option.
Yeah, so don't just throw a Red Warrior's Valor off a 2-card hand. Like that honestly is usually bad. Like you want to be supporting your good go again cards with, pumps, or at least be bluffing a pump, so that way you're getting value out of their hand, right? Like don't one of the worst things you can do, and this is actually a mistake I did make a lot in the beginning, is like I would just block 2 cards and then just like Red Warrior's Valor. And I learned quickly that like that is a really bad play a lot of the time, unless I'm just so desperate for tempo. Like I'm just like, I'm losing really, really hard, and like I'm willing to just give up this bonkers card for tempo, because I just need them to give me cards so I can have a chance to keep a 5-card hand to do something meaningful. But oftentimes you're better off just like pitch at the blue, swing the Dawnblade, pocket this card if you have that open arsenal, and just look for next turn, because you don't want to toss away this card for nothing, because it's so much value when you get to swing twice.
Yeah. All right. I mean, congratulations, Davis. This is well deserved. You've been right there this entire time, and now you have your first RTN win down. And I'm hoping to see your name day 2 nationals, the only Dory player, maybe one of two.
Dory's popular, so she'll be well represented, but she does have a pretty poor conversion rate, especially versus good players, because you know she's yeah. I mean, good players know what to do a lot of the time, so you really have to be on your A game to convert with her.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. I'll send Davis the questions. His deck links in the description below. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's a great time.
Yeah,
Bye.
no worries, man. Let's go play Diablo.
Yeah, seriously. Get me out of here.